Huh? All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I hope you guys are doing well, inshallah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa ba'd. So we're going to carry on our discussions in Shama'il at-Tirmidhi. We're doing the book Khulasa, which is basically the summary of Shama'il at-Tirmidhi. I'm going to read the Arabic part, or actually, why don't you read the English part, and then I will explain whatever needs to be explained over here, inshallah.
Okay.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, let his hair grow long. He would shorten it and at times leave it. Whoever saw him in a particular state
You gotta
described.
read louder so we all can hear.
Whoever saw him in a particular state described him accordingly. Hence, his hair was seen halfway down his ears to the earlobes.
Mhm.
Sometimes he distributed his hair into 4 curls, placing 1 curl on either side of each ear.
Mhm.
At times, he let his hair loose at the back without parting it. Previously, he would part his hair.
Beautiful. All right, excellent. So, شعر رأس النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, the hair of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. كان يوفر شعره. So, there are 3 descriptions that you're going to find in every single hadith book. If every single hadith, if you were to collect all of them, right, there are close to 33, 34 different narrations about the hair of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you collect all of them, you will get 3 primary descriptions. How many? 3 primary descriptions. And the word that you need to remember is walij. Waw, lam, jim. Waw, lam, jim. Walij. If you remember this word, you will remember all the descriptions of the hair of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Waw stands for wafra. Okay, wafra. So wafra is when the hair of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam grew all the way up till the earlobe. It did not go past the earlobe. That's called a wafra. Then the hair of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go from the earlobe up to the shoulder and somewhere in between. So from the earlobes up to the shoulder, somewhere in between. That was called a limma. Okay, limma. Tam, mim, and ta marbuta. Limmatun. And then many times Rasulullah would have a hair that would go past his shoulders. And that was called a jumma. Wafra, limma, jumma. Walij. If you remember these 3 words, you will remember that. It's very simple. Think of it logically. Hair up to the earlobe, then from earlobe to the shoulders, and then past the shoulders. And then there were different descriptions of it. So he said, وقال قال السيوطي في على قوله سبحانه وتعالى قال في إبقاء شعره وترك حلقه. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, most of the time, right, he kept his hair. I.e., most of the Anbiya alayhim salam, they had long hairs. They did not have short hairs. Even in Surah Taha, قال يا ابن أم لا تأخذ بلحيتي ولا برأسي. Don't grab me by my hair and my beard. This is who? Musa alayhi salam's brother. Who was he? Who was Musa alayhi salam's brother? Harun alayhi salam. Harun alayhi salam, he was left behind. Musa alayhi salam went to Mount Sinai to meet, to have this meeting with Allah, liqa ma'allah. And then he comes back and he sees that they're idol worshipping a calf. So Musa alayhi salam, alqa al-alwah, he took the tablets that he had, he dropped them, and he grabbed his brother by the head and the beard and was like, how did you let this happen? So that scene is described, qala, Harun alayhi salam said, Yabna Umma, oh, the son of my mother, i.e., you and I have the same mother. La ta'khudh bi lihyati, don't grab me by my head, by my beard. Wala bi ra'si, and don't grab me by my head. So from here, ibqa'u sha'r, that a person, a man, generally had longer hairs. Wa tarku halqihi, and not to shave it unless you have a necessary reason to shave. وَمَا حَلَقَ إِلَّا أَرْبَعْ مَرَّاتٍ. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam shaved his head only 4 times in his life. Who's going to tell these 4 times? Okay. في الحج أو العمرات. Good. So there were 2. How many umrahs then he would have done? He did 1 for Hajj and then? Okay, good. So total 4. وَكَانَ يَقْصِرُهُ قَدْ يَتْرُكُهُ فمن رآه على حالة وصفه بها. So sometimes people must have seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, let's say maybe 9 months into 1 year after he had done Umrah. So the hair were up till here. Then somebody saw him 2 years later, hair had grown longer. Somebody saw him here many years later, the hair had grown longer. Okay, so فَجَعَلَ بَيْنَ كُلُّ أُذُنْ غَدِيرَةً. So what Prophet ﷺ did is that بَيْنَ كُلُّ أُذُنْ, between every ear, he would take a scroll, i.e. he would roll his head, his hairs into braids. So he would roll the braids and then he would take a braid and he would put the braid back. He would put the braid back behind his ears. Okay? كان يقصره وقد يتركه فمن رآه على حالة وصفه بها. Whosoever saw him in a certain state, he described him in that state. Okay? How many braids would Prophet ﷺ make his hair into? 4. And sometimes 3. Sometimes 4, sometimes 3. All right, next part. Do you want to read next part?
Okay. Sayyidah Aisha
Read the chapter.
Oh, the Prophet ﷺ having his noble hair combed. Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha would comb his hair even if she was menstruating. He would oil his head and comb his noble beard thoroughly. He began with the right side. He began every noble thing with the right.
Excellent. So it says, كانت مولانا عائشة مولتنا عائشة رضي الله عنها. She used to comb the hair of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is mentioned that sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be in the masjid. So women are not allowed to be in the masjid during their monthly cycles. So what she would do is she would sit in the house, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would place, because his house, the house of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was attached, right? It was right next to the masjid. So this is the house of Aisha radiallahu anha, and this is the masjid. So she would sit in the masjid so that she doesn't enter the masjid, and she would comb the hair of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. بل في كل أمر شريف Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam يبدأ باليمين. Generally, when he would start combing, he would start from which side? The right side. So the combing of the hair would begin from the right side. Then he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would go to the left side. And anytime any noble act, كل بل في كل أمر شريف, any noble act, you should begin with which? Left, right? Left? Oh, mashallah. Mashallah. Yeah. Begin from your right. Excellent. The second part is he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not all the time comb his hair. Okay? He wouldn't all the time comb his hair. He was not overly obsessed with his hair. Okay? We also talked about it in the previous chapter too, right? That for men to be overly obsessed by their looks and to be overly obsessed by their hair, all of that is not from generally masculine traits. Also, disheveledness, that you show up and you're completely disheveled, your beard is all over the place, your hair are all over the place, you're not even combed, that also is not something which is befitting of a Muslim brother. They should, take care of themselves. Next part.
He would not comb it constantly, but rather every other day. He forbade us from opposing what he did. He also instructed his companions not to comb every day.
Next part. Next chapter.
His fragrant white hair. A hypnosis of the narrations is that he had white hair in 3 places: at the parting of his head, at the temples, and in between the lower lip and chin. He had more in that part than the rest. After applying oil to his hair, the white hairs were less visible. The total number of white hairs was close to 40. Whoever counted less considered what was in a particular area. His white hair increased in a relatively short period of time due to surahs such as Hud al-Waqi'ah, al-Mursalat, and other similar surahs, which mention the different stages of the hereafter and the punishment which befell previous nations.
Excellent. Good. So the next part is the how many hair that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have, right? It is mentioned that he had how many hair? Around 40, right? Where were most of the hair found? Where were most of the white hair found? No, it was right over here, this area, and the temples. Okay, so over here, this area, and most of them were hair. Nothing in the main beard, nothing on the main head. Okay, so it was easier for Prophet ﷺ to put henna. Right, henna is what? You all know what henna is, right? A form of a tree, sorry, a form of a leaf that, a certain type of leaf, and you dry it, you turn it into a powder, you add various, every culture has various different things you can add, right, to enhance the color of the henna, and it can go all the way sometimes to very, 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 very dark brown, right, if you do it right, and then sometimes it's around orangish color. Cool. Then next part.
It is said he dyed his white hair using henna. The opposite has also been said.
Okay, read.
He had a kohol bottle from which he applied kohol every night before going to sleep 3 times in each eye. He commanded us to do this and encouraged the use of ithmid. He said it clears the sight, i.e. increases its light, and makes the hair, i.e. eyelashes, grow.
Beautiful. So putting ithmid, what's the translation of ithmid? Antimony. What is it translated there as? Didn't translate. Ithmid is basically antimony. So it's a rock that is found in certain parts of the world, and you take that rock and you crush it, you turn it into a powder, and you apply it. Today, you have various different ways of doing that, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would apply that every night, and it is various different narrations as mentioned. Some mention that Rasulullah would put um, 3 times in his right and 2 times in his left. Another narration mentions that he would apply 3 times in his right eye and 3 times in his left. The ithmid is usually found in a silver or a brass bottle, and you know what I'm talking about. You open it and you can put it in your eyes. There is a hadith which says that إنه يجل البصر, that this ithmid, it creates, it allows you to see more clearly. Again, this particular hadith, specifically this narration, it is in Tirmidhi. And this narration is da'if. So there's a lot of issues with this narration. But today we know with medical science that such particular things, whether it is the health of the eye, certain elements that you put in the eye can actually help with the eyelashes and the growth of all of that. And that is somewhat proven, not super medically. But ala kulli hal, it's not a mawdu hadith, it's da'if hadith. But there's so many narrations of it, and that's why he has mentioned this over here. Okay, next part. Libasuhu, this is important.
His favorite garment was the qamis, the long shirt. His sleeves reached the wrists. The buttons would sometimes be unfastened, and the placket was at the front by his chest. He also wore dyed garments from Yemen, which were patterned and contained red, and were coarse textured. He would place them on.
Just stop right there. So libas, this is important because now we're going to get into the dress of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, what constitutes as quote unquote Islamic dressing? What's Islamic or halal dressing? Like today, I somebody asked this question: why are you not dressed like a Muslim? Like, what's Muslim dressing? Are you dressed like a Muslim? How do you know?
Oh, the four.
It's below your knees. Good. Somebody's like, oh, well, at least I've covered my knees and my awrah. That's good. What else? Yeah, wearing longer shorts. Okay.
The four conditions.
4 conditions. Okay, Bismillah. Tell us.
I don't remember. I know the four.
Astaghfirullah.
One is la yashbah.
Allah yushbih. Beautiful. So the first condition, one of the conditions is that any dress up that you do and I do, right? You should not cross dress. You know what I'm talking about? So men dressing like women, women dressing like men. Cross dressing is not allowed. Can you put the phone away? This is not. Okay. We want to follow a decorum. Can you put your phone away too? So we want to make sure that we're, paying attention to that, unless you're taking notes or you're reading on that. So cross-dressing is something that is absolutely not allowed. As a matter of fact, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, generally, if you look at it, he doesn't send a curse to the Muslim ummah or to individuals. There are 4 or 5 times where he has done that. One of those times is for a person who cross-dresses, who dresses like a male, who dresses like a female, and a female who dresses like a male. So cross-dressing in our religion is absolutely not acceptable. Now, what determines that culture? Al-ada, urf, right? Customs. Not customs of America. American customs don't matter, because American culture predominantly is not a Muslim culture. Okay? Egyptian culture, Pakistani culture, right? Culturally appropriate dresses, Uzbek cultures. There are cultures that are predominantly Muslim cultures. In those cultures, they have a very clear distinction between feminine dress and a masculine dress. Okay? So culturally, that which should be acceptable, i.e., whichever culture you're from, if you dressed, right? Like if Hamad today wears like lehenga, puts a lehenga on, and he puts like a red chadar on and shows up, we're gonna be like, oh mashallah, American culture is so appropriate. He's feeling himself today, like he is true to himself, mashallah, right? Would it be acceptable? It wouldn't. Doesn't matter what culture you're from, right? Unless you're like completely delusional, which we have a lot of people today nowadays, right? Unless you're in that category, you're not going to be like, this is not right. This is not how men dress. Okay? There's a problem. Okay? Or when we go to the gym sometimes, right? And you see people that are dressed, guys, that are dressed more feminine than girls. And then the way they're picking, remember that guy, like the way he was picking dumbbells, he's like, it's too heavy. I was like, guy, you know what? You're in the wrong section. You need to somebody. So those type of people, somebody needs to whoop them. Like their masculinity is there. Like you whoop that guy into some sense, and he please don't do that. I'm just like, it's a metaphor. Like somebody needs to knock some sense into this person. Okay. And today I was in school, in your school. I was there, and I was completely shocked. Like we were walking by, and then I saw this. Like I thought it was a guy. Like full, like you could not tell that it was a girl. And like I walked by, and then the girl knew the guy who was walking with me to the classroom or so whatever. And then they're like, "Hey, oh hello." And I'm like, "That was a girl?" Like I never paid attention to that. Okay. And no, we saw that too. We were at we were at a restaurant. We were at a restaurant. Isa was there, and we were at a restaurant, and Isa was there, and basically what happened? We saw this guy with the dog mask. He was just barking. He was like pretending to be a dog, and then the other guy was like giving him like he was like oh, and then the guy's like, "Here you go, some fries for you." Good boy. So any type of cross-dressing, even now you go cross-animal dressing, is considered completely not acceptable. I was once traveling in one of the masjids had invited me, and I was traveling, and we went to IHOP after Fajr.
I think your mouth is connected. Is it connected here?
I don't know.
Because you just moved the mouth.
So I was somewhere, and guess what happened? We went to IHOP in the morning with the Imam of the masjid and myself, and we went there, and everybody in the Fajr crowd, we all went there, and then we're in IHOP, and I don't know if you guys seen this. Like there was this girl that came dressed like a makeup like a cat. So she had like things, and she had like her nose made up just like a cat. And for a second, I'm like, what would you like to order? And I was just like, I forgot. You know what? Give me some time. And it was so weird to see a human being that Allah has created them with this aql to degrade themselves to that level. Right? It's just pathetic. Straight up pathetic. It's just like, and nobody wants to call out this stupidity. Nobody wants to tell them that this is, listen, I don't care what you want, but this is stupid. No, you won't get put in prison. Because it's not, you can call, yeah, you're just afraid of confrontation, but like somebody needs to call that out, right? So the first condition is no cross-dressing. No cross-dressing. Number 2, what's the second condition? It has to cover that which should be covered. Okay? For guys, it's navel to knee. Okay? For guys, it's navel to knee. And for girls, there's the entire body except their face and their hands. Okay? So the entire body except their face and hands, but for the boys, it's navel to knee. So it must cover, i.e., that the clothes must cover. Now, that does not mean that tomorrow, right, Anas goes into the masjid wearing shorts from navel to knee. It's like Allahu Akbar, Jummah time. Okay, I've been working out and bench pressing, 110 pounds, so I'm going to do something. Where are you at now with your bench? Allahu Akbar. Yeah, it's okay. I understand. Yeah. Cool. May Allah give you shifa, inshallah. So the second condition is what? Allah yakshif. It shall not expose that which is necessary for us to cover. Third condition? Beautiful, right? Seeing this stupid nonsense going around is like see-through clothes. I'm dressed. Yeah, everybody can see everything. No, but I'm still wearing a dress. That's just dumb. Okay, it's not a dress, and then it's just we have stooped to such low level of humanity that we can look at someone who's not dressed, wearing a plastic see-through dress, and like, no, you're dressed, mashallah. At least you're wearing a see-through plastic on top of your body. It's just disgusting, right? And where do you see this a lot? Like when I travel, I have to be in hotels, so they'll put me in like hotel. I'm in a hotel, and in the morning, during weekdays or during weekends, right? People will literally show up to the breakfast place to have breakfast. 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock breakfast finishes. 8:55, all these people who are drinking all night long, they'll show up thinking that they're dressed, right? And you're like it's crazy. Like it is insane the kind of things that you're eating your breakfast, and I don't want to walk. Like somebody would just put up their t-shirt, a girl would just put up their t-shirt and just show up like that. Forget the pants. And this is happening in America, and nobody has any issues with it. Sitting in the restaurant, they're all like, yeah, it's been very normal, mashallah. This, you even know what they're wearing. Wow, mashallah. Mashallah. It's pretty sad that we don't want to, we can't call that out. I still remember when I was in school, one of these girls, she showed up dressed in a miniskirt, and the teacher told her, get back on the bus, go back home, and dress like you would dress in front of your grandfather, and then come back to school. And she was not a Muslim teacher. She was like an Italian Christian. She was like, these are principles and values, right? So the second is, it should not be see-through. Anything that is see-through is not considered a dress. Okay, what is the definition of see-through? If you were to drop water on it, okay, sometimes it's not see-through, but if I drop water on pants or on my shirt, if my skin color becomes visible, so if I drop water here and you can see my skin color, right, in the areas that are supposed to be covered, then that's see-through. Clear? So sometimes it could be like very thin cotton, right? You'll be like, well, it's fine. But if rain comes on it, you can actually see the skin of that person through the, do you get it? That type of cloths are even that type of a cloth is considered makruh. which means that if you wear something like that, and what if there was a rain or something happened, your skin is going to be visible. Because skin color is going to be visible. Cool. Last condition. Who doesn't remember? Allah yasif. Skin tight clothes are not allowed. Skin tight clothes that show your physique, that show your curves for you, right? You're like, oh, look at my thighs and look at my beautiful pencil thighs, right? We don't want to see that. It's not allowed. It's not allowed. Yeah. Yeah. Skin tight clothes are not allowed. Allah yasif. They're not allowed for your mom in front of you, not allowed for your sister. You're not allowed to wear that in front of your mom or your sister. Skin tight clothes are not considered. It's there's very, very strong hadith about that. As long as you cover your belly button, you're fine. It's not haram as long as you cover your belly button. But if you're below your belly button is, mashallah, visible, then you have visibility problems. Okay, you can't do that, and especially skin tight where the problem happens. Especially some of the guys that wear these jeans that sometimes when I look at it, I feel suffocated. I feel like, what did you do? Like you had to put Vaseline on to put these pants on. Like you're like putting tons of Vaseline, and you're like, and then you see that. Like I was in school today, I was like, how is this guy breathing in this pant? It's just like so tight. Like it was like, oh bhai, I can't breathe. Just take off your pants. Like it's so bad. And the same thing goes for girls, like skin tight leggings. This stupid Lululemon, or what are Lululemon? What is this company called? Lululemon? What is it called? Lululemon. Lululemon. You know, okay, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm a Desi, okay? So my brain first sees the word as Desi. I'm like, Lululemon. What is this Lululemon? Why call it Lulu? And then I was like, oh, it's Lululemon. Whatever, Lululemon. All of this trend is, and now it has become acceptable culture for women to come and wear those at workplaces. How's that work pant? No. Right? So I think this whole libas issue is a big issue. So that's why when we study Prophet ﷺ's clothing, it gives us a glimpse as to how dress should be. Okay? So, كان أحب الثياب إليه قميص. The most beloved type of a clothing for Prophet ﷺ was qamis, i.e., a loose shirt that had long sleeves, kind of like the Pakistani shalwar kameez, but it was stitched all the way until to the bottom portion past the knee. That's where the qameez would be open, right? So from the sides, right? The side bands, so they would be open. So qameez was the most beloved thing that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to love. Okay. Okay. And the second part, can you read that chapter again from English, please?
Start from where I stopped.
First part, libasuhu, his dress.
Oh.
Yeah.
His favorite garment was the qameez, long shirt. His sleeves reached the wrists. The buttons would sometimes be unfastened in the
His sleeve reached the wrist, and sometimes it would reach all the way to the end over. So the sleeves, if you were to hang his hand down, they would come all the way to the ibham. They would come all the way to the thumbs. They were long sleeved, and sometimes what he would do, وَقَدْ يَكُونُ مَحْلُولَ الْإِزَارِ. So sometimes he would open the buttons, okay, either of the sleeves or of his shirt. The other part was that his shirt used to have buttons on which side? On the left side. I don't think it says that. Does it say that? Min jihat al-sadr. No, it doesn't say that. So many times Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have a shirt which had a slit this way. If you ever seen Sudani thobes, they have slits on the side. Have you ever seen that? Like they have slits on the side. That's how it is. That's how the slits of the shirt was. ولبس أيضا الثياب المصنوعة في أرض اليمن. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to love clothes that came from Yemen. Okay, for example, like this shawl is the striped shawl that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Similar to these, he would like yellow, za'faran, red in color. These striped shawls were something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to love a lot. Okay, similarly, he would love dresses that were custom made for him from Yemen. Okay? And sometimes he also wore, sometimes Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam وكان يتخذ ثوبا جديدا جعل له اسما خاصا. Every time he would get a new pair of dress, like a new pair of a shirt, he would give a special name. You know how you name pets? Rasulullah would name his shirts, he would give certain names. Like, you know, if you have like hoodies, give every hoodie a certain name. Rasulullah would give every shirt of his a specific name. Okay? For example, جعل له اسما خاصا دون اسم المعهود. For example, the regular thing is qamis. And he would say, you know, if something, you know, hoodie, you call it comfy. Whatever, you give a name that you find this particular article of clothing provides to you, and give it that name. Then, whenever Rasulullah would wear something, he would ask this dua. He would say, Allahumma lakal hamd kama kasawtani. All praise to you, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way you have allowed me to dress myself. As'aluka khayrahu. I ask the best of this dress. Wa khayra ma suni'a lahu. And I ask that it may be created for the best purpose. Wa a'udhu bika min sharrihi wa sharri ma suni'a lahu. And I seek refuge from this cloth of mine, this cloth of mine, or article of mine, and I seek refuge from whatever it has been created for any evil. وَكَانَ مِنْ أَحَبِّ الْأَنْوَاعِ الثِّيَابِ إِلَيْهِ ثِيَابٌ مِنْ قُطُنٍ. Most beloved type of cloth, textured cloth that he used to love was cotton. Okay. وَلَبِسَ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم الْحُلَّةَ الْحَمْرَاء. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wore a shawl that was red in color. He wore a shawl like that was red in color. وَلَبِسَ بُرْدَ الْأَخْضَرِ. He also wore a shawl that was green in color. So that's why sometimes you see people wearing a lot of green, you see people wearing green shawls, you see people having a real touch with the green color, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to love green color. Now, what shade of green it was, the whole thing, we can have that discussion. Doesn't matter. As long as it's green, you like it, wear it. And have the intention that you're doing it for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sake. And وَلَبِسَ بُرْدَةَ الْأَخْضَرِ. So over here it says, أي ثوب الذي فيه خطوط خضراء. I.e., he would have, like I have, I'll try to bring that shawl tomorrow, next time. I have a shawl that is black and it's got green stripes in it. You know what I'm talking about? It's got a green stripe in it, right? So he used to prefer that if his shawls, when it had stripes, it would have green stripes in it. Okay. And these type of shawls, if you want, you can get them from a really good friend of mine. He runs a store called YemeniThreads.com, Yemeni Threads, and he imports them. They are handmade, and he imports them directly from Yemen. Like, so villages, these old women that work in those areas, and he gets them from them, pays them really good value for those, and then he sells them over here for a little bit of a markup. It's called Yemeni Threads. Okay. And then he sallallahu alayhi wasallam labisa aydan al-thiyab al-khaliqa. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he also wore, in another hadith it says, رأيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أسمال ملتين كانتا بزعفران. I saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he was wearing saffron, this color that you see. He was wearing a shawl that was saffron in color and had stripes on it. Okay. Za'farani type of a color. Okay. And وَكَانَ أغلب عليه لبس البياض. The dress color that he chose, i.e. the color of the clothing that he preferred the most was what? White. His preference was to wear white dress most of the time. And that is why he commanded that we should wear most often a white color, and more importantly, an nukaffina fi, that we also use that as our kafan. What is a kafan? Huh? Shroud. Yeah, kafan is the shroud that we use for when a person passes away. Okay. وَلَبِسَ أَيْضًا جُبَّةْ رُومِيَّةْ ضِيقُ الْكُمَّيْنِ. He also wore a dress kind of like the shirt that we wear, Roman shirt that was long, kind of the current modern day thobe in Saudi that you get, which got sleeves that are pretty. They're not tight, but you know that this is the hand. It's not loose, and he wore something like that from Roman Empire. Okay, Rumiya Diqiyatul Kummain. Okay. And then sometimes Rasulullah would spend a lot of money, just so you know. It wasn't just like, sometimes he would spend money to be able to buy. Sometimes he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would spend a lot of money to buy a piece of article of clothes if it was necessary for him. Okay? But he wouldn't extravagantly all the time buy something. It was purposeful. One of the times he bought a hulla. He bought a hulla, like a shawl, and he paid 30 camels. Even today, one camel is close to $2,000. Like a cheap camel is $2,000. A cheap camel would cost us today $2,000. So if you think about it, today a cheap camel is 2,000. Back in the day, camels were pretty expensive. But even for today, 30 camels times 2,000 times 30 is what? Come on, 60K for an article of clothes, right? He sallallahu alaihi wasallam bought that. اشترى الحلة بنيف وثلاثين ناقة واتخذ ثيابا للجمعة والعيدين. He wore that only for Jum'ah, and he wore that for Eid. So that was his Eid and Jum'ah dress. So that means that if you have to pay $60,000 for your Jum'ah dress, you can go and tell your parents today, you want to buy a very expensive dress for $60,000. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Okay, we'll stop over here. Everybody please stand up. Nothing? Yeah. Everyone stand up. 600,000? Oh wow. Reals or dollars? Wow, it cost $600,000. Okay, awesome. 30 camels. Okay. All right. What do you think is going to happen now? I think we're going to do that. Okay. Shh. Turn in lines. You know what are you doing? Okay. All right. No. Don't. Please, let's get in line. Get in line. Get in line. Turn around. Let's go, man. Go back. Go back. Lean back. All right. Tap. Let's go. No. Don't. Yeah, gently. You don't need to hit it hard.
Sorry.
Shh. That's abuse. Please, don't abuse him. Why are you so uncomfortable with this? You feel like you're like, oh, ya Allah. Okay, flip, turn around. Turn around. No, easy. No, it doesn't matter. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Your turn.
I'm good. Okay. All right. It's on the camera. People can see it live.
Hey guys.
All right. That's good.
Feels good?
That feels good.
I'm gonna leave your shirt.
Thank you. All right. We'll stop the stream over here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, folks, online. Now we're going to get into our other session.